Event here in Minneapolis, Minnesota at the auditorium. They're ready to go 9 rounds. Light and middleweight U.S. championship hanging in the balance. The champion John Longstreet against the challenger Richard Green. Green is an interesting suspect because he comes in here from Tulsa, Oklahoma at 24 years of age. There still may be just a little doubt in his mind on how he wants to fight Longstreet. We kind of flash back and take a look at his last 2 fights to maybe dictate what he'll look for. Richard Green of Tulsa, Oklahoma, comes into hostile country tonight to fight the hometown favorite, John Longstreet. Green, nicknamed the Dragon, is shown here against Tony Williams. Green in the red pants is ranked number 9 in the world. And when he's able to put his hand combinations together as he does here in round 1, he can challenge anyone in the light middleweight division. Showing good power in both hands, Green used his kick sparingly against Williams. And after a standing 8 count in the second round, Williams failed to answer the bell after round 2, giving Green a lopsided TKO victory. In a later fight this year against Ray McCallum in Tulsa, Green in the white pants found out that exchanging was dangerous. And finally, a solid right side kick sends him down in the first round. Green proved he could take a lot of punishment. After going down in the first round, he wades through a barrage of punches to send McCallum reeling against the ropes, where Green was dishing out some damage of his own. Rather than use his success at the end of round 1 and maybe change the style of the fight to best fit his game plan, Green continued to brawl with McCallum, who finally had all he wanted on the ropes and came out punching. He finally decks Green with a left-hand shot midway through the second round. Round 4 would be as far as this fight would go, as McCallum kicked his way in to punish Green on the ropes and again found a big landing area for that left hand. This was a tough loss, but that inside brawling may be the right stuff against Longstreet. And if it is, Green has paid his dues. So as Green anticipates what he'll do tonight, 2 of his 4 losses have been to the world champion Bob Thunder Thurman. So he's been in there with some tough ones, and he's in with a real tough one tonight. The current U.S. champion, John Longstreet from nearby Bloomington, Minnesota. They'll be bringing down the rafters with cheers tonight. One of the things about Longstreet, not only does he possess a great deal of talent, but he's called a thinking man's champion as we take a close look at him. At 26, United States light middleweight champion John Longstreet has used his head as well as his talent to reach the top. In winning the United States title last April in Beaumont, Texas, Longstreet unveiled a seldom-used sweeping technique on the charging Gene McComb that kept the former champion off balance most of the night. Just when McComb thought he had figured out Longstreet's game plan in round 4, John put the sweep together with his forte solid kicks to continue his control. McComb finally made a breakthrough in round 5. After exchanging inside, McComb started to back Longstreet up, and the Texas crowd thought they could feel something changing. Things stayed on an even status until round 9, when Longstreet was able to hold off the desperation attack of McComb with his early round weapon, the sweep, and finally a spinning sidekick. When the decision was finally read, it ended a 3-year reign as U.S. champion of Gene McComb, but may have started a flood of titles for John Longstreet, who will defend his new title for the first time tonight against Richard Green. So with the hometown crowd cheering on, Bill Clark, let's look at the rankings as Thunder Thurman on top. And there you see Longstreet is the number 1, but there's some other familiar names here as well.
Yes, John McKayo recently fought Bob Thurman, and he's the hardest kicker in this division. And then you see 2 people that John Longstreet defeated, Joe Ancona at number 4 and Gene McComb, the former U.S. title that Longstreet got his title from.
And Richard Green figures in the top 10. There you see him at number 9, and he's ready to go up against the current U.S. champion, John Longstreet. And let's meet him with our ring announcer tonight on the Kick of the 80s. Here is Keith Kloss.
Ladies and gentlemen, our main event, a 9-round bout for the PKA United States Light Middleweight Championship. The officials for this bout are scoring judges Dan Edson, Mike McNamara, and Vic Murata. The kick judges are David Cohen, Brad Strott, and PKA representative is Larry Rajak. Introducing first, in the blue corner, from Tulsa, Oklahoma, he is 24 years old, stands 6 feet tall, weighed in at 161. He has a contact record of 14 wins, 4 losses, no draws, with 10 wins by knockout. He is the PKA's number 9 world-ranked light middleweight contender. Please welcome the challenger, Richard the Dragon Green. Green. And in the red corner, from Bloomington, Minnesota, he is 26 years old, stands 5 feet 11 inches tall, and weighed in today at 163 pounds. He has a contact record of 16 wins, no losses, no draws, with 6 wins by knockout. He is the PKA's number 1 world-ranked light middleweight contender. He is the PKA United States light middleweight champion. Please welcome John Longstreet. The referee for this championship bout, Truman Irving.
Gentlemen, this is a 9-round bout for the U.S. Championship. There is absolutely no holding. I will give you 2 warnings and only 2 warnings. After that, you will be penalized 1 point each time you hold. The 3 knockdown rule has been waived for this fight. As you know, there's no kicking or striking below the waist, and there's no kicking or striking when an individual is down. Go to your corners, come back with mouthpieces inserted, ready to begin the contest. Good luck, good health.
Well, the battle lines have been drawn. Good look at Richard Green, number 9 ranked light middleweight contender in the world. But right now, he's interested in this man's current United States light middleweight title and belongs to the number 1 world contender, John Longstreet. Longstreet in Beaumont won the title over Gene McComb. That came on April the 25th when he won a 9-round decision. Richard Green was losing to Bob Thunder Thurman on June 9th in Kansas City. Late in that, he was absolutely beaten up severely by Thurman, and 2 of his 4 losses have been to Thunder Thurman. He's in with quite a technician tonight, though, Clark, and certainly Longstreet will put on quite a show.
I think so. First 2 rounds he'll probably use just to kind of kick and feel him out, but after that we'll see all types of hands and kicks from Longstreet.
There is a definite charisma drop-off from Terry Norblum, who has such energy to this man, and that's John Longstreet. That is no discredit to Longstreet. That's just his approach to the fight. You saw him try to use that sweeping move on Green and comes back with the left hand.
Yeah, he's much more serious than Norblum is about the total fight. I mean, you can see there's only one thing on his mind, but Norblum seems to be interested in entertaining people also when he's fighting.
Longstreet wants to entertain him with keeping that perfect 16-0 record going. Left hand getting it on Green with a minute to go in the first round.
Sam, Longstreet's one of the few people in PK that has almost equal skill with his hands and his feet, and his feet are really good. He's one of the top kickers, so that tells you where his hands are.
Richard Green trying to sail in with a lead right, follow with a left that missed.
30 seconds.
It is interesting to note, with only 30 seconds to go in the round, Longstreet, who's normally known as an excellent kicker, has put 6 so far.
Well, he'll need to pick that up, but like I said, looks like he's just feeling him out this round. Wants to see what he's got, move around. I'm surprised he doesn't have his kicks in by now, though.
Larry Carnahan, who works in his corner across the way. I don't think anybody's picked it up, but he has, but, well, he's got 6, 7. That may have been 8. They didn't count it then. And now they finally get it over on the timeout at the end of the round 1. My apologies to the kick counter across the way. The ring post is right in between myself and the counter. And he not only had 8, he had 18 finally at the end of the round. The 1 was obscured from my vision, so again, John Longstreet quickly kicking very early and then adding to it. So again, my apologies. I thought there was a problem there, but it turned out to be just a bad vision on my part. Longstreet with Larry Carnahan looking on. Jim Albertson working also in the corner. The sweep worked so well against Rick McComb. What makes this sweep a legal situation, Bill?
Well, the sweep is legal as long as it's from the middle of the calf down into the back of the person's leg. Most people are not proficient at it. Longstreet perfected it, and it looks like he can use it against a taller opponent also. I was a little bit worried about that if he would try it against someone as tall as Green is.
If it's been on the books, how come nobody else has kind of used it that much when it all of a sudden comes to such a light with Longstreet?
Well, most people fight with their left foot forward in an opposite stance, so they have to sweep all the way from the back position. Longstreet with his right foot forward simply slips forward and scoops your foot off the ground and makes you lose your balance or fall.
So the style of fighting of John Longstreet from Bloomington. 26 years of age here against Richard Green. Green in the white pants from Tulsa. Being helped in his corner by an outstanding welterweight, Dale Cook. There you see Longstreet trying to charge in with a hand barrage. Green has a fairly good distribution of his weight because a couple of sweeps have not worked here by Longstreet.
They don't work. His feet aren't as wide as his last opponent, McComb. McComb had his feet a little bit too wide for those sweeps, and it made him lose his balance. Longstreet is still just working. He's not really working real hard. He's still just kind of feeling it out to see what he can do, what he can get away with. See a lot more action from him as he finds out what he wants to do and figures out Green.
Under a minute to go here in round number 2. This is a very small ring. It's only 16 feet, Bill. How will that affect what we'll see in the duration of the fight?
Well, I thought it would slow down the kicks, but you're talking about someone who uses hands and kicks, so I don't think it'll affect either one of the fighters here. The one thing, Green will be able to get him to the rope sooner, and once he finds out that if Longstreet can't hurt him, he'll push him into the ropes, and a small ring will help him there.
By the way, I have my glasses firmly in place now. A dozen kicks by Longstreet and a dozen as well for Green in the second round. As you see the time winding down. Scheduled for 9, 10-ounce gloves being used here tonight in this United States Light Middleweight Championship. The champion John Longstreet in the red against the challenger, the Dragon, Richard Green. We'll continue with round 3 after these messages. Good look at 24-year-old Richard Green, and again Dale Cook working with him here in Minneapolis, Minnesota, as we get ready to go for round number 3. Green again the challenger, looking for a dethroning of the United States light middleweight champion. That, of course, John Longstreet, defending for the first time since winning the title from Gene McComb. That on April the 25th. Well, it's round 3. Can we look for the tempo pick up here by Longstreet? And maybe he answered it with that first kick.
I think he will pick it up. He knows pretty much now that Green's just trying to wait and counterattack him. Green tried to sweep of his own, but Longstreet really is a much better technician with a much higher variety of techniques, and we'll probably see them all from now on.
How about the first 2 rounds on your unofficial scoring there, Bill?
Well, Longstreet kind of dictated the pace in both of them. I gave both rounds to him, and I have it now 20-18 in favor of Longstreet.
So John Longstreet trying to successfully defend his United States light middleweight title for the very first time here in his hometown or nearby. He's from Bloomington, a suburb, and one of the fastly growing cities here in the Minneapolis area. Well over 2 million in the Minneapolis-St. Paul area, one of the top television markets in the country. And Longstreet, along with his running mate, Terry Norblum, have gotten their share of publicity here.
Yeah, they're very popular, and you can see why. They're both successful kickers, but Norblum's a great kicker, but I don't think he kicks as hard as Mr. Longstreet does.
Excellent flexibilities. You saw that round kick to the face of Green. How about Richard Green? Does he change anything from what he's done right now?
He hasn't changed anything yet. He still knows his secret is going to be to slip inside and throw 1 or 2 big punches and try to hurt Longstreet. And that's still what he's trying to do.
30 seconds to go in round 3.
You just saw him with a good right hand. That's exactly what he did.
Green, who works full-time on a couple of jobs as a security officer and also works at a convenience store in his hometown in Tulsa, Oklahoma, says he still has time to train, and that's called dedication, ladies and gentlemen. Closing seconds of round 3. Oh, a vicious kick by Longstreet. Green saw it coming and got away. He didn't get out of the way of the last one as round 3 is over. Good look at the current champion, Longstreet. Larry Carnahan, along with John Worley and Bill Dunkley, The officers of JLB Productions that are putting on tonight's fights in Minneapolis.
Take it down and do that one good shot. It's coming, it's coming. The spins work. Spins are going to hurt that ball.
He's got to slip something and do some damage.
Bill, in addition to slipping the kicks, is Green the type of fighter that can kick his way in and get ready to get some shots?
His kicks are not really effective, except when he kicks low like that. Most of his kicks are not nearly as effective as Longstreet, so he's trying to move in really with his right hand. That's what he'd like to hit him with.
You see the sportsmanship of the two fighters on the low kick that time again by Green, acknowledged by Longstreet. Momentary delay in the timing there in round 4. Scheduled for 9 tonight. Longstreet, who's the manager of the National Karate School in Minnetonka, Minnesota. Head instructor, of course, is Terry Norbloom. And these guys said they stopped fighting each other, sparring, because they just really know each other so well. They're really not getting that much of an advantage now. Another timeout on the possible low kick by Longstreet.
He did kick him low that time, but Green has also kicked him low 3 or 4 times in this round. You'll see Truman Irving talking to both fighters, getting those kicks up again. He's the one in charge, and he'll make them get their kicks up.
A minute to go in the round. Longstreet being chased around by Green, almost turned and stuck that side kick in his face, but elected to hold up. Follows the kick with a hand combination. Green walks somewhat into it.
He's letting the fight change a little bit, though, Longstreet is, and Green is now kind of mixed up, but he ran right into that left hand by Longstreet.
They have changed back, and indeed that left hand. 30 seconds to go in this round. Green is going to try to hang on here. Now they're stopping time here for a moment as Dale Cook had the stool up and Julius corrected Truman Irving, telling him to put the stool all the way down on the floor. Just a few seconds left to go here in the round.
But he's exactly right. The corners have to stay down. They cannot stand up. Both corners being warned.
Bill, not only does Truman Irving got to watch the two fighters, he got problem in both corners now.
Sometimes the audience.
Spectators trying to become part of the activity here. Larry Carnahan was well off the ring apron. It was another spectator at ringside. Another left hand by Longstreet. Round kick. Kick counter goes to 20, and he's already had all the cards down. So he's had over 20 kicks in this round and continues to throw them successfully here at the end of round 4. And that's the bell that indeed does end round 4, the scheduled 9-rounder.
Fighting from the unorthodox position gives him a good chance to stick a straight left in there, and a lot of fighters aren't used to that. Here, the same punch from a different angle, and you can see how he kind of just blocks the punch and throws it directly on the chin. He was really effective with that punch that round.
Well, we start round number 5 of the scheduled 9-rounder, and again, those two good punches by Longstreet. Almost put Green down, but he stayed on his feet, survived the round, and comes out here to answer the bell in round 5. Bill, how about your scoring so far through the first 4 rounds?
Well, I have 37 for Green and 40 for Longstreet. Longstreet mainly with the kicks and also the left hands.
Longstreet, just vicious kicks. Excellent timing and distance.
I think the fact that he's fighting unorthodox or right foot forward has given Green some trouble. Green would like to slip in and throw his own right punch, but Longstreet can throw the back leg really hard, and plus that left punch has given Green a lot of trouble.
There's another indication of low blow by Green. And now standing 8 count. For Richard Green here with a minute to go in the round. Oh, pretty good right hand by Green as he retaliated in. Now a deduction of 1 point. That does go against John Longstreet for the low kick. And we're back to action here still in round 5.
Longstreet is still very effective when he has his right foot forward. He's throwing that front leg or the back leg. But when he turns to an orthodox stance, he's setting up his spinning kicks. And Green should start to pick that up, that every time his left foot's forward, he spins on him.
Green coming back into that left hand. He followed with a good right hand. Again, Longstreet with the left-right combination, catching Green squarely on the face. Green trying to kick his way in, but not getting close enough to Longstreet to land the bomb he needs.
You see the spin kick every time his left foot's forward, the spinning kicks or spinning back kicks.
And that's the bell to end a rather hectic fifth round with several stoppages along the way. Richard Green again with Dale Cook as we look on here at ringside. Well, we'd like to say it's been a pleasure working with you tonight here in Minneapolis, one of our certified PK karate referees, also the senior vice president for the Taekwondo Association. 120 people participating and 270 schools across the country, and I know you're quite excited with the growth of Taekwondo.
Taekwondo and karate in general is growing all over the nation. That's actually 120,000 members instead of 120. And
excuse me, I thought I said 1,000. Excuse me.
Ladies and gentlemen,
and of course, Bill working with us here at ringside, former number 8 contender on the world in the middleweight division, as we look onto the light middleweights here. Another good look at John Longstreet, the current U.S. champion.
Good theme with the sweep when he's got that orthodox, and every time left foot forward right there, you'll see the spinning side kick, and it's working very well. Once in a while low, but generally he's a very clean technician. None of those low kicks by either fighter are intentional.
This is round number 6. They're set to go 9. By the way, John Longstreet, not a man that boasts a great deal before a fight, but he kind of wanted to end this one early. But right now, we are fighting in the 6th. There is several pieces of ice that are laying in the ring right now. Longstreet slipping momentarily on one of them, but coming out with a hand combination that stuns Green, who keeps coming ahead, though.
We're pretty much seeing the fight right now. This is what we're going to see the rest of the time. If Longstreet has his right foot forward, he's working inside and punching with his left hand, also throwing good kicks with both legs. But if he puts that left foot forward, watch for him to spin, because he's really throwing some power when he does spin. Green, of course, is still stalking in, looking for that big punch, and he's doing a good job of it, like right there.
Good right hand indeed by Green. He was countered with the right hand of Longstreet, however. But Green may have landed maybe the best punch he's thrown all night.
Still, we're seeing a very consistent fight with Longstreet. He's sticking right with what he came out. Once he got through the feeling process, he's done the same thing. He's sticking with his game plan, and he seems to be winning the fight that way.
Longstreet calling himself a man of destiny. He feels a defense here tonight successfully against Richard Green will later down the trail give him a shot for the world title against Bob Thunder Thurman. After capturing that title, he wants to move up in weight to the middleweights and go after who else but John E. Terrio. Quite an ambitious trail ahead for John Longstreet.
Indeed, he's got his work cut out for him after this fight.
Richard Green closing with a flurry at the end of round 6. And that's the bell that ends our 6th round. And again, Richard Green. Green trying to get his offense going there in round 6.
That was the right hand you pointed out. Probably was the best punch that he's thrown so far.
So as Green takes a little extra rest on the stool, yanked out of the ring by Dale Cook, John Longstreet standing, and we're off for round number 7. Well, how about the fight with that 1-point deduction? That made a little bit of difference, but not much, Bill.
Yeah, I have the fight at 56 for Green and 59 for Longstreet at 1 point. Otherwise, the rounds have either been even, in my opinion, or Longstreet has won the round.
John Worley told us the fact that John Longstreet has never lost a round. He may have had some even rounds, but he's never lost one. I find that very difficult to believe, but the man's got talent.
Unbelievable, but it's also in the number of fights he's had, it's unfathomable that anybody could fight that many fights and never lose a round. Even accidentally just give one away when you're resting seems like what happened.
I'm not sure John Longstreet does a lot of resting along the way.
Well, he needs to really, keep a little bit of forward pressure on Green. He's letting Green come to him. There's always that chance that Green will hit him with that big punch. He's such a good fighter. He doesn't need to be right there and getting hit with that right hand.
You see Green with that lunging style. Thought he had Longstreet in a compromising position, but missed. Round number 7. Almost carbon copies of what we've seen since early infighting to kind of set a tempo by both fighters.
Longstreet is letting Green kind of dictate it, though. Now Green moving forward to throw the right hand. Longstreet not keeping him off with the kicks, and he's not using the sweep that he used against so many other fighters. He needs to go back to that.
You see the time in the lower right-hand corner of your screen. Laura, that's timekeeping. Official timepiece of ESPN Sports. Here comes Green as he did at the end of round 6. He'll finish round 7 with a flurry on the face of the champion. And we'll have more as Green picks up steam against John Longstreet on the kick to the 80s after this timeout.
You know, Johnny.
And we'll have more as Green picks up steam against John Longstreet on the kick to the 80s after this timeout.
Here you'll see what probably caused Longstreet his first loss of a round, and tremendous lefts and rights by Green as he snuck inside.
Well, is that the first that Longstreet may have lost? It was certainly a good round by Green.
It was a good round until the very end for both fighters, kind of an even round, but I believe that last flurry, very solid punches, gave that last round to Green, and he's coming back now, actually, because Longstreet's letting him dictate the fight, as you see him constantly pressing forward.
They're set to fight 9 here tonight. The United States Light Middleweight Championship on the line. Sam Smith along with Bill Clark. Minneapolis Auditorium, Minneapolis, Minnesota tonight. Good crowd on hand for this JLB production. Promoted by our good friend John Worley.
Longstreet has got to stop Green's constant pressing forward. He's either got to go back to sweeping or get a little more distance, because he's not as effective now. Green is pressing forward all the time. He's trying the side kick, but he needs to either sweep or come up with something else to stop that forward pressure.
Spinning back fist, and Green just kind of shakes it off. Green, big shot to the body that time. Almost double Longstreet up. I tell you what, Green in the last 2 rounds, Bill, has delivered some good punches.
Yes, he has, and he's still working his, looks like what he started off with, that plodding kind of just scooting forward with small steps and throwing the big punches is really working for him now.
By the way, we've been watching very closely to see how the right wrist of Longstreet has been reacting. He broke it in the win over Gene McCone to win the U.S. title. As a matter of fact, he's broken both wrists. But so far tonight, he's delivered that right hand very well, as he does there with a spinning back fist. Closing moments of round 8. Well, the crowd certainly anticipating a big 9th and final round as the fighters will take their last 60-second break before the final 2 minutes of scheduled fighting here, as Longstreet tries to defend before an excellent crowd here in Minneapolis. We're in downtown where, again, we pointed out there's been parades, water shows, and it continues as they indeed celebrate the summer here in the land of 10,000 lakes, Minneapolis. 22 natural lakes inside the Minneapolis city limits, as a matter of fact. And a good look at our compadre. He looks kind of funny without his headsets on tonight. That's John Worley of the PKA, and again, this being his hometown, he's one of the promoters of the show here tonight at the auditorium.
There's a spinning back fist set up by Longstreet with the right hand. Didn't seem to bother him at all. Also that front kick, and there's a spinning back fist from another angle. You can see it hit the shoulder first. That's why it wasn't as effective as it might have been.
Well, this is the 9th and final round, and Richard Green came running off the stool to center ring to meet the champion. Now, Truman Irving has spotted some ice, just as it was in an earlier round, coming out of the green corner. It was on his lap when he stood up. It just kind of went all over the ring. How about as we go to the 9th now, Bill?
Well, it's getting much closer. I have it by 2 points at 76 for Green and 78 for Longstreet. This being the last round, Green's got to keep doing what he's doing. It could be much closer on the judges' card.
You see Longstreet standing and fighting on the charging Green. They exchange. Green maybe getting the best of that.
Longstreet doing what he needs to do now. He's not letting them come catch him, but Green sliding forward. He keeps working. That's what he has to do. This fight could be real close on the judges' card.
That spinning back fist. Again, Green just walked right through it again.
But now he's not getting off. He's being stopped by the techniques that Longstreet's throwing, the front kicks and the left hand.
Other than a little brain lock on my part in round one when we thought that Longstreet was in trouble on kicks, he has had right at between 15 and 20 kicks and more every round. And you know how many punches he's thrown. Very balanced, very consistent fighter.
All of his kicks have been extremely hard, too. He hasn't thrown any lazy kicks. He's worked real hard. He needs to work hard in this last round, though, to establish some dominance for himself.
30 seconds for a successful defense for John Longstreet, or a stunning upset by Richard Green.
Incidentally, looking ahead to...
And Longstreet is down! Julius, correction, Thurman Irving said no.
Well, from different angles, it looks a little different, but he's going to have to stop this type of forward slog. That's exactly what Bob Thurman does, which you see him now. So.
Look at Green going after the champion. There's the bell. There's the bell to end the ninth and final round, and this one's over, but not before Richard Green took it to the champion, John Longstreet. Wow. I tell you what, round 7, 8, and 9 most assuredly had to be very close to going in this man's camp. As Green out of Tulsa, Oklahoma, just literally went right after Longstreet. Let's take a look near the end of round 9.
Mr. Irving may have been correct, although it was a punch that hit a legal target and knocked him down. It looked like he was slipped trying to backpedal. That's probably what Truman thought.
So again, the slip was initiated by, again, was started, and of course the punch on the way down, it would be not counted a knockdown, and thus it was not. And Richard Green, nonetheless, had a good final round against John Longstreet, and now the judges will make their decision known. We'll be back with that on the United States Light Middleweight Championship in a moment.
Look how water can destroy unprotected wood.
Here's a reminder that the kick of the 80s, the World Light Middleweight Championship, comes to Atlanta, Georgia. That'll be Tuesday, August the 20th, 8:30 p.m. As you'll see, Bob Thunder Thurman defending his title against Larry McFadden, the number 10 ranked man in the world. Also on that same card, it'll be Joe Corley against Superfoot Bill Wallace in one of their rematches of a 10-year-old fight, and the grudge is still there. That's all on Tuesday, August the 20th, from Atlanta, Georgia, right here on ESPN. Well, we're ready to go to find out the official decision on this United States Light Middleweight Championship. Here's the ring announcer, Keith Kloss.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a decision. Judge Edson scores the fight 88-82. Judge McNamara scores the fight 87-83. Judge Murata scores the fight 87-85. By unanimous decision, and still undefeated, John Longstreet. Longstreet.
The decision may be a popular one here in Minneapolis, but Richard Green knows that in particular rounds 7, 8, and 9, he gave the champion a run for his money as he tried to successfully defend his title and move his record to 17-0, which he will do. John Longstreet retains the United States Light Middleweight Championship in his hometown right here in Minneapolis.
Everyone.
We're going to visit with both Richard Green and John Longstreet as we'll continue with the kick of the 80s right after this timeout. Welcome back once again to Minneapolis, Minnesota. We have three people standing next to us, two in particular that you see here. This, of course, is Richard Green and his girlfriend, Jackie. Also in our interview, we'll be interviewing, of course, Dale Cook just a moment ago. But Richard Green, what a successful try you had for the title tonight, 7, 8, and 9. I thought those last 3 rounds were sensational.
Yes, I did, too. It was a very tough fight. John's a very good fighter. It could have been a little bit closer, maybe. I don't know. It was a very tough fight.
Interesting scoring, 88-82 on one card, but 87-85 on still another card, which indicates there was a pretty wide variance even on the judges.
Well, yes, maybe so. I think John maybe felt it was a little closer, and so did I, but it was a very tough fight. I don't have any excuses. John's a good fighter, but I've been in there with the best, and I'm going to be around. So go tell them all that I'm still alive, and I'm madder than a hornet in the bumblebee's hive.
Richard, one of the things that he had used, referring to Longstreet, against Gene McComb, was that sweeping action. Didn't seem to work against you tonight, however.
Well, I think it worked. I didn't see the fight against John and Gene, but I think it worked a little more effective against Gene because Gene was a little bit shorter. I'd like to thank David Flash Franks for working with me diligently to help me get ready for the fight.
Well, Richard Green, one quick comment from Dale Cook, an outstanding fighter. Your man came on strong, Dale.
Oh, man, this is almost as draining as fighting myself. One of my guys is out there. I think that John answered the question whether he could take a punch tonight. He proved that he can take a punch. We kind of wish that a U.S. title fight maybe was 10 rounds instead of 9.
Well, Richard Green, congratulations on a great effort tonight. Now let's talk to the champion that we possibly can, and of course that is John Longstreet, who successfully defends for the first time his United States title, and it was not an easy one tonight, though, John.
No, it wasn't. It's kind of a hard way to make a living. Sometimes I wish I would have been a rock star or something.
How about the fight tonight? What were you trying to do, and what were you successful with, particularly in the early rounds?
The first couple of rounds, I just tried to kick and move and fill out Richard and see what he was going to do, and hopefully I was hoping he'd get a little tired from hitting him in the body, and he didn't. He just got a little stronger, which is a credit to his conditioning and his training. I thought he had an excellent fight. As I told him, I'm a little older than he is. When I'm gone, he can gladly have this thing. I'll just give it to him.
What about the last 3 rounds in particular? I thought Green really had the last 3, really fought well in those last 3.
Well, I don't think there's any doubt about that he had an excellent finish. I was out there, and I had first-hand experience at it, and I'll definitely give him a vote on the last 3 rounds.
I'm not going to try to outguess or second-guess a referee, but how about the slip or almost what looked like a knockdown late? We've got a look at it here on the videotape. Did you feel that you were slipping before the last punch might have sent you down?
Oh, I might have been a little bit. I was going down there, but I've learned never to argue, second-guess the referee.
John, I know you're going up against Joe Ancona. That'll be coming up in Toledo on August the 16th. What kind of fight do you anticipate that night?
Oh, I don't think it'd be a whole lot different than this. Joe's got a little bit of a coconut head there, and I'd like to say hi to Joe and look forward to seeing him in Toledo, and then we're going to go on a hunt.
It's great to be at home and fight here before the home crowd's in it, John.
Like I've said before, there is no place like home, and I wish I would have done a little bit better, but I think they had a good fight to see. Richard made it a hell of a fight, and of course, that's what they pay for, and I think that's what they got.
The current reigning United States light middleweight champion, John Longstreet, he successfully defends, but it was not easy tonight against a very tough opponent in Richard Green. This is the Kick of the 80s, PKA Karate, and we'll continue as we'll wrap it up here from Minneapolis and talk about not only the championship fight tonight, but have some others, as we'll continue with more right after we pause for these messages.
Let's see if he's ready.
Hey, John, again, congratulations on the show. Well done here tonight in Minneapolis, and we'll look forward to joining you again on PKA Karate. Our thanks also to Bill Clark, who's worked with us, coming out of the Jacksonville, Florida area. It's been delightful for us to work with you, my friend. I hope to see you down the road as well.
Thank you, Sam. I enjoyed it.
It's been a great night. Minneapolis, Minnesota. Hope that you, too, have gotten the kick of the 80s. It's been John Longstreet successfully defending his United States Light Middleweight Championship, and Terry Norblum coming up with his 19th victory. There's still more to come on the Kick of the 80s later on here on ESPN. Till then, for Bill Clark, John Worley, this is Sam Smith. Good night, everybody.
This ESPN program has been brought to you by Budweiser. For all you do, this Bud's for you.